Hey guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I am the Dean, your host, and coming to you live from one of the sponsors of the show, Cajun Fitness in Rayne, Louisiana. Look, if you're in the Louisiana area, if you're in the Lafayette area, we've got a great location here in Rayne for Cajun Fitness. If you need to go get your workout on, they offer day passes, they offer yearly. Come and check them out. Check out Rayne, Cajun Fitness, Rayne, Louisiana. Check out their other locations. Find them on Facebook and we find them on Google. So go check them out. Awesome staff here at Cajun Fitness, and we thank them so much for letting us broadcast live. I'm going to show you guys real quick. Poolside, that's right. Look, some of the country is already dealing with winter weather. We here in Louisiana, we got a little cold spurt going on, but it's not too cold to not go short sleeves, shorts, which is what I have on. I'm not sure you guys had right now. But anyway, today is the start sit episode for week 11. And I'm not sure, and I got a little glare going on here, guys, so bear with me. And let's do a real quick adjustment here, see if we can get a little better. There we go. Okay. So we'll do a little better view from this side. Wanted to show you guys the view that I was getting. So here we go, guys. Start sits week 11. So quarterbacks, remember your buys. You've got the Giants, the Niners, the Bills, and the Bears. I might have said recently the Bucks. So I'll apologize to all the Buck owners out there that were kind of panicking, thinking, oh, man, I'm going to lose Tom Brady. I'm going to lose Mike Evans, Godwin, Ronald Jones after this monstrous week that he had. Calm down. But you do have to look ahead because week 13, right before the fantasy football playoffs, you're going to have to deal with a bye week for the Bucks. So something to think ahead for. Remember, guys, we're playing chess, not checkers here at the Academy, okay? And in thinking ahead, I want you guys to think about this. You might have a quarterback on your roster right now, as I do in Justin Herbert. But what's his future schedule look like? Look ahead and see who you can roster that might give you a little boost here and there to get you into the playoffs. Right now, there are some of you out there who are totally out of the playoff race, and I'm sorry that your fantasy season has come to the conclusion that it has, or at least heading that way. A lot of you, if you're in a league like mine for the League of Record, we see a lot of jumbling, a lot of guys with very similar records. I myself am sitting at 500, not a real comfortable place to be, but I'm scrapping, I'm fighting. Right now, I believe I'm in 5th place. Top 6 get in of our field of 10. So I'm trying hard to get that spot and keep it. My boy D Money slid from 7th up to 6th by beating yours truly. So a loss I'm kind of torn about because we have the student bettering the teacher farther into the fantasy season. So he had a really good week. He had a really good kicker in Suck-Up with Tampa Bay. So props to my boy D Money for putting together a killer lineup for this past week. So let's get into start sits. Then we're going to talk about a couple of key injuries that we're dealing with. There's a few big name receivers that are on this. We're going to talk about 2 of them in a little bit. But Alex Smith, my start of the week, you heard him last episode when I was talking about picking him up. Look, Alex Smith has done nothing for the past 2 weeks except throw for over 300 yards. Guys, that's crazy. Okay? Went from basically being out of the NFL to being a start. Dwayne Haskins has fallen the way that he's fallen. Kyle Allen got hurt. So now it's up to Alex Smith going against a very vulnerable Cincinnati Bengals defense. So this could be a very high-scoring game. He's got the weapons. He's got scary Terry McLaurin. He's got Gibson. He's got J.D. McKissick. He's got Logan Thomas. So if you are in need right now, if you're missing somebody like Josh Allen this week, Alex Smith is not a bad option to have. Now, another good option to have, Kirk Cousins, my boy Captain Kirk, going up against Dallas. Look, he's been up against Dallas before. He's not intimidated by the situation. Plus the fact that Dallas isn't that intimidating anymore. They're kind of falling on hard times. They're 2-7 right now going into this game. Yes, they're still fighting for a possible title shot, but do they really want it? There's some rumors that are going around saying, well, Dallas should tank. They should go for the draft pick. They don't want to pay Dak. It'll give them another option. So there's a lot of things in play here. So Kirk Cousins could be walking into a very favorable situation along with Dalvin Cook. Now, we know that Dalvin Cook is a monster, a beast of a fantasy running back. So keep that in mind. Could turn into the Dalvin Cook show. They could be so far ahead that Kirk Cousins is not even an option. But seeing what they did last game with Garrett Gilbert, their starting quarterback, supposedly Andy Dalton's going to be back. And if Andy Dalton is healthy, he should be the starter. So possibility to have a really good fantasy production game between Minnesota and Dallas. Dallas's defense is not what it used to be. Minnesota is far and away a far cry from what they were last year. So a lot of points to be had in this game. Another quarterback for you guys to keep in mind to start this week, Baker Mayfield against Philly. Look, Philly's not that good. Look what Daniel Jones did to him. Daniel Jones had a really good showing. Baker could have another good showing. They leaned really heavy on the run game, but I think a lot of that was based upon weather. Look, it was a bad weather game. Okay, high winds. It was just a bad game. So this game, check out the weather, see what it's supposed to be. Remember, the weather does play a very important role. And remember what we teach here at the Academy. We teach environmental roster management. So environmental roster management means the environment. What are they playing in? What are the situations that they're playing in? Is it snow? Is it wind? Is it rain? It's going to be sunny. Is it going to be in a dome? Things to think about, guys. Remember, chess, not checkers. Now, I got a little bonus here for you. Usually I give you guys 3. I'm going to give you 4 today because we're dealing with a very unique situation down in New Orleans. That's right. Drew Brees out possibly for the season. I know Saints fans don't want to hear that. He's saying, hey, I'm going to be back 2 to 3 weeks, no problem. We're talking about fractured ribs, guys. He's got 5 of them the last time I heard. So 5 fractured ribs, a collapsed lung, and you're telling me that a simple shot is going to cure this man? Now, we all know that Drew Brees is an Iron Man. He's a beast of a player. But I'm telling you right now, Sean Payton's not going to let him go. So we got Jameis Winston, we got Taysom Hill. Now, here's the thing. I'll give you a little cheat code. If you're playing, you need to check your platform. Whatever platform you're playing on, I know ESPN's platform has him listed as a tight end / quarterback. So if your league allows you to go in, because this past week was absolutely horrible for tight ends. So what better way than to get a tight end, a quarterback in a tight end's position, then go ahead and start the quarterback. So if you've got an awesome quarterback, but you need a little help at tight end, because you're not the Kelsey owner, you're not the Waller owner, okay? If you're not one of those 2 guys, maybe you're missing Kittle, you had to scramble and get somebody else, throw Taysom Hill on your roster right now. Go get him. Put the waiver request in before it goes through. Some of you doesn't go through until today, possibly tonight. But if he's still out there in your league, go pick him up. Slide him into the tight end spot. Then you can go ahead and start a different quarterback. Maybe the one that's been on fire for you. Maybe the one that you think is going to blow up this week like Alex Smith or Kirk Cousins. But Jameis Winston has a unique opportunity to do what he did in a different system. Now, here's the thing. Bruce Arians was very patient with Jameis Winston with throwing 30 interceptions. Then he had to turn around and throw 30 touchdowns. He did throw for 5,000 yards. He had two wide receivers in Tampa that you drafted very highly this year because of based upon what they did last year. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Guess what? In New Orleans, he's got Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, two amazing wide receivers that he can do a lot with. These guys collectively, in my estimation, are better than what he had in Tampa Bay. Okay? So, something to think about. I'll give you a little bonus. Guys to sit, and this first one's going to shock you. I know. You know I'm not a big fan of him. But Tom Brady, look, he's going up against the Rams. The Rams are no joke. They are not Carolina. He carved up Carolina last week. You saw what the Saints did to him the week before. Did he get embarrassed? Yeah. Should you expect another 30-plus performance out of Tom Brady this week against the Rams? I highly doubt it. Next guy up, Ryan Tannehill against the Ravens. Look, Tannehill, he's not what he was last year. Okay, this is a Derrick Henry-driven offense. So Derrick Henry is going to be the guy to be running the show against the Ravens. And yes, you can run on the Ravens. It's kind of hard, but what's even harder is trying to throw on them. Tannehill's not going to have the time. That front seven is going to get to him. They're going to get to him quick. So if you're depending on Ryan Tannehill, you might want to pivot to somebody else. Next guy, Jared Goff going up against Tampa Bay. Hey, this Rams-Tampa Bay matchup, I don't like for the quarterback position. I don't like for the wide receiver position. Okay. So I got Mike Evans coming up. That's also on my list. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But Jared Goff, he's been up, he's been down. If you can plug him into a plus matchup, go ahead and do it. But this is not that matchup. Back off of him, start somebody else. First running back up, James Conner. And I know James Conner last week was a disappointment, but he's going up against the Jags team that is ranked 27th in the league against the running back. So that's not bad. There's only 32 teams in the league, guys. 27th against the running back. James Conner gets it done this week against Jacksonville. Nyheim Hines, I know you're chasing points, right? Maybe not. I think that the coaching staff in Indianapolis has started to lose a little bit of faith maybe in Jonathan Taylor. Maybe they're seeing some chinks in the armor that didn't come through during the combine. So, Nyheim Hines. Hold on, guys. I'm getting a call. Sorry, nobody I know. But anyway, guys, so Nyheim Hines going up against Green Bay. We've seen that Green Bay's defense can be run on. So Nyheim Hines, I've said it before, very, very similar skill set to Austin Eckler. They have the same quarterback. They both have Phillip Rivers checking down to them. The defense in Indy is top of the line. They are the number one defense tied for the number one defense with the Ravens in fantasy. So, Nyheim Hines going up against Green Bay. I don't see a lot of high output here. So if the game is close, they got to run out the clock. If the game needs a little boost here and there, we've seen that Phillip Rivers is not pushing the ball down the field. He doesn't have Mike Williams. He doesn't have Keenan Allen. So those options are out for him. T.Y. Hilton has been such a disappointment, breaks my heart. But Nyheim Hines is definitely stepping up, and everyone is taking notice. 28.9 points last week. This week, he might get a little more work on the ground. Wilkins is also somebody that you need to keep an eye on. But Nyheim Hines for a PPR league is absolutely phenomenal. So keep that in mind, guys. Next up, I got a double dose for you from the same team. And you guys can pick your poison on this one. Rex Burkhead, who gets a lot of goal line work with the Patriots, going up against a really bad Houston defense, or Damon Harris for the same Patriots. He's going to get the volume play here, okay? So Harris was looking absolutely phenomenal. Didn't get a whole lot of goal line work. That was given up to sexy Rexy Burkhead. So if you need a little boost, maybe you're missing somebody in your backfield, maybe they're injured, maybe they're dinged up, maybe they have a really bad matchup. This right here is an absolutely monster matchup against Houston. Next up, my sits of the week. Ronald Jones. I know you're saying, hey, Dean, what are you, crazy? He just went off. Yes, but he went off against a Carolina team that's not really good. This week, he's going up against a Rams defense with Aaron Donald, and they're basically been shutting down offenses, okay? Look at the past couple of games that they've had. The Rams have been absolutely phenomenal on defense. Next up, Todd Gurley versus the Saints. Look, the Saints shut down Ronald Jones just last week. Then he bust out. Todd Gurley has the capability to break out, but I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen with the Big Easy. Not with New Orleans, not this week. Next guy up, and this hurts me to say it because I own part of Miles Sanders in this league. Miles Sanders versus the Browns. Look, the Browns might be a joke here and there on offense, but on defense, they're absolutely no joke. They can shut down your run. So if you have Miles Sanders, he's just coming off of injury. He's only got about a week up underneath of his belt. Give him a second. Let him have a better matchup than this and pivot to somebody else who has a better matchup, all right? Wide receivers. So as far as wide receivers go, I'm telling you guys right now, go ahead. You can start CeeDee Lamb. If Andy Dalton is back under center for the boys, you can definitely start him. He's going against Minnesota, which is the 29th ranked defense against wide receivers. Next up, this is an early game. It's a Thursday night game, Arizona, Seattle. If you don't have a piece of it, this is probably going to be the only way you're going to be able to get a piece. Go out and get Christian Kirk off the waiver wire right now. If he's not rostered in your league, he needs to be, because if anything happens to D-Hop going forward, we're way too close to the playoffs for him to come back and be of any significance. Christian Kirk is the next man up in Arizona. So Arizona is going up against Seattle, who is the absolute worst against the wide receivers. They are ranked 32nd, dead last, guys. There's going to be a lot of points. Russell Wilson is going to have something to prove after that absolutely horrid showing last week where he only scored 9 fantasy points. That's right. Mr. Unlimited was extremely limited last week, but this week, look for him to break out, and especially if Tyler Lockett can't go. DK Metcalf is going to be his boy. Chris Carson possibly could be back. We're going to get into that a little bit with the injuries. Next up, Travis Fulgham from versus Cleveland with Philly, going up against the 27th ranked Cleveland secondary. Look, the run game, I just said, the run game is crazy. The Browns can shut you down, okay? I don't like Miles Sanders against them, but I'm loving Travis Fulgham against a really bad secondary with Cleveland, okay? Keep an eye on their injury report because their shutdown corner should be out for this week. Little bonus here, guys. Mike Williams. Why? He's facing the Jets. Look, this could be the third win for the Chargers. They've had a lot of close games. They've been in almost every single game that they've lost, okay? They've either lost by 3, 6, 5. They've lost by very little, okay? They're on that cusp of learning how to win games with a rookie quarterback. So, Mike Williams versus the Jets. Yes, it's hard to call Mike Williams games, but if you're desperate, if you're needing a fill-in for Stephon Diggs, for John Brown, for Cole Beasley, okay? If you've been leaning on Brandon Ayuk and he's out, if you've been leaning on any of the Giants receivers, if you've been leaning on Allen Robinson and you're missing them this week, Mike Williams could be the answer for you. Now, who's not the answer for you? Tyler Boyd versus Washington, who is the second best against wide receivers in the league. I know it doesn't seem like it after the debacle from last week against Marvin Jones and the Lions, But I'm telling you right now, Tyler Boyd, I would watch out for. He's gonna get the #1 corner treatment. That's gonna leave T. Higgins open. That's gonna leave AJ Green open. But Tyler Boyd is the guy. Tyler Boyd is the key, and everybody knows this, so they're going to be concentrating on that. Next up, Mike Evans. I told you earlier that against the Rams, I just don't like this matchup. Next up, a guy who actually had a really good week last week, this week against a Jacksonville defense. They're ranked 22nd, but Chase Claypool, I just got a feeling. You know what we say here. We trust our gut. I'm saying Chase Claypool, you might want to lower your expectations a little bit because he's kind of been a little up and down lately, okay? Next up, tight ends. Yeah, I know. It's a sore spot for people. We're just coming off of one of the most horrible weeks of tight end play in fantasy football. But Logan Thomas, with Mr. Checkdown, Alex Smith as his quarterback, going up against Cincinnati, the 31st ranked defense against tight ends. This is an absolute dream matchup if you're missing a tight end or if you are unhappy with the play of your tight end. Also, Austin Hooper. I know Austin Hooper let you down last week, but everybody did. So it wasn't just him. Everybody across the board was let down unless your name was Travis Kelce, and then you knew you were missing him anyway because he was on a bye. So Austin Hooper against Philly, the 29th ranked defense against tight ends. Now, my two sets for tight end, Jonnu Smith. Look, I don't know what they're doing with Jonnu. I don't know how they're going to play this, but he's going up against the Ravens, okay? Don't look for a whole lot of play right there. Then I want to flip this around. Same game, different team. Mark Andrews. Look, when your quarterback's throwing under 200 yards, there's not a whole lot of shares to go around. So I'm not looking for Mark Andrews to do anything against a really good Tennessee defense. And we're not really sure how Lamar Jackson's playing out. I mean, it's kind of hard to judge him right now. So if you have a better option at tight end, you need to take it. Now, defense. Browns versus Philly. We've seen the absolute horrid play of Carson Wentz, and that front line is banged up. So the Browns are getting healthier. They're getting better. This game is going to get out of hand early. So they're going to be forced to throw the ball, which means that they're going to have to pass protect. And they're not really that good at pass protecting for Carson Wentz. We've seen that before. So if you need some interceptions, you need some sacks, you need some possible fumble recoveries, you're looking for the Browns against Philly. Vikings versus Dallas. I know what you're saying. The Vikings? Really? They're playing Dallas. Andy Dalton's coming back off of injury reserve. He's coming back off the injury. So he's been out. I mean, come on. Who are they going to – I mean, even if they put in Garrett Galbert, they got game film on him now. Okay? They're the 30th ranked offense at this moment. I think the Vikings can go ahead and handle business. My sits for the week, and this hurts me because I own both of these defenses, the Colts versus the Packers. I don't know if Philip Rivers can keep up with Aaron Rodgers. They're going to try, but I don't think they can keep up. So there's not going to be a whole lot of interceptions. There's not going to be a whole lot of fumbles. That's not what the Packers do. Okay, if this was Chicago, maybe, but it's not. So the Colts versus the Ravens, Colts versus the Packers, I don't really like. And then the Ravens versus Tennessee. Look, this could turn into the Derrick Henry show real quick. Could Tannehill have a breakout game? Yeah, maybe. I'm not looking for it. That's why he's on my sit list. But the Ravens defense they got me 1 point last week. I'm kind of hurt. I'm kind of stung. So if you want to take this as kind of a tilt against the Ravens, go ahead. I understand. If you want to go ahead and play them, I understand. I might as well. Okay, but we'll see what happens. Now, I want to go into some key injury real quick before we wrap this up. So I talked about Drew Brees. He's got fractured ribs. He's got a collapsed lung. He's out. This is a great opportunity if you have Emmanuel Sanders, if you have Michael Thomas, if you have Jared Cook. Why? Because they're going to have to get points somewhere, and everybody knows that they're going to try to go take Kamara into this, okay? So they're going to be keen on Kamara. Are you going to stop him? No, but you are going to do your best to contain him. Is it going to be the same as it was with Drew Brees? Nope. I'll tell you right now, nope. 4 little letters. Nope. It's not going to be the same. What is the recipe for Jameis Winston? Throw 3 interceptions early, throw 4 touchdowns later. You throw for 350 yards. Boom, you got outstanding fantasy output. Who's he going to be throwing to? Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook. Very easy. Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. You ask those guys how that worked out for them fantasy-wise last year. That's why they got drafted so high this year. Then you get the Brady effect, and none of that stuff came to fruition. Next up, Teddy Bridgewater. If you relied on him last week, you were very happy. However, this week, if you rely on him right now, he does have a knee injury, and you need to monitor that because the next up is P.J. Walker. He's been a little bit of a journeyman. He played, I believe, in the XFL. So this guy, I don't know. You really can't put P.J. Walker in your starting lineup. And if you put Teddy B in, he gets dinged up, then you're out at quarterback. So monitor the situation. Make sure that you're checking out the injury report on Saturday. And remember, Saturday we've got Dustin from Keller's Bakery, also from the Flaming Infernapes owner, the same person. He's going to be showing us around Keller's Bakery, proud sponsor of the show. Remember, you can find him at 627 Lafayette Street off the Youngsville Highway. And if you mention that the Dean sent you, you get your 2 free cookies with your order. So don't forget to go by and see him. Check him out on Facebook. And remember to subscribe, like, and share. And let me know what flavor you got, guys. I would love to know. So next up, Matt Stafford. He's got a torn ligament in his thumb. Now, here's the thing. You could put him in. You could stream him. But then you would be without a quarterback when he hits it on somebody's helmet or when he gets sacked. It's going to happen. Okay? Not that I'm wishing anything bad on anybody, but the risk is high. So we need to monitor that. Drew Lock, if you are a Drew Lock owner, ditch him now. Okay? You were probably only using him because you were out without a quarterback last week, and he was absolutely horrible for you. He's got bruising near his ribs. He's got a muscle strain in his chest. But I'm believing that there's an upgrade in Brett Rippon. Okay? Look, I saw this kid in college. I think he can do phenomenal. So if you're a Jerry Jeudy owner, if you're a Noah Fant owner, even Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay, this could be a good thing for you as that owner. Okay? So next up, running backs. We're going to talk. Chris Carson has a nagging foot injury. You need to monitor that because if he is in, that's going to be phenomenal from Mr. Unlimited. Then you've got Joe Mixon with the same thing. Unfortunately, Joe Mixon right now is offering absolutely no trade value whatsoever because nobody wants to take on that headache. They're not going to soak up a roster spot this late in the season, hoping that he gets well. He's been hurt way too long and way too much. So, Kenyon Drake, ankle, we need to monitor that. He looked a little off. If you watch the game against Buffalo, you need to monitor it. He had 16 carries for 100 yards, which was okay, but the way he ran was just a little off. So keep an eye on that during this week of practice. CMC owners, look, I know you're probably listening to the coach and you're going, oh, he's saying he might play. He's saying he might play. Yeah, of course he's going to say that. He's not going to tell the other guy that, hey, I'm starting Christian McCaffrey when it's actually Mike Davis. Monitor the injury. They're looking for him to be out multiple weeks. Raheem Mostert. If you have an owner in your league that has Raheem Mostert on his lineup right now, on his roster, go to him with a low ball offer because he probably needs to pull a win out this week to go ahead and get into the playoffs, or at least get back in the playoff race, or at least stay in the playoff race. So you might be able to get Raheem Mostert on the cheap. He's due back week 12 after the bye. San Fran's got a bye this week. You offer him somebody who has a little bit of an upside, but You keep Raheem Mostert, and you can boost your lineup there, okay? Austin Eckler, exactly the same thing. He's looking for a Week 12 return. So you're going to go without him this week. But if you have someone in your league who needs a win now, go to them and offer them a little something. Maybe, a mid-range wide receiver and a mid-range running back. Because when he gets back, both of these guys are going to be beast mode. Okay. Now, we talked about 2 wide receivers that were big names are on the injury list. Calvin Ridley with a foot injury. He's been out for a couple of weeks. You need to monitor this week. He's supposed to be getting some individual work. Then he's going to be getting some team reps. So keep an eye on this. If you are a Julio Jones owner, of course, you're starting Julio. If you have Zacchaeus or Russell Gage, this might be a matchup you want to plug into because it is always a shootout between Atlanta and the Saints. Okay. Tyler Lockett, I know I traded for him not too long ago, and it hurts me to say this, but he has an MCL strain in his knee. If you can pivot, this is a short week, and you need to make this decision tonight. If you're going to pivot away, Christian Kirk could be your pivot. So if Christian Kirk is available, go get him. You can pivot away from Tyler Lockett, and you can pivot to Christian Kirk. Okay, guys? There's going to be a lot of similarity here. Okay? So Tyler Lockett, possibly. Calvin Ridley, keep an eye on. And remember to monitor Saturday's injury report before you set your lineups. All right, guys? Remember, if you have a Thursday night game, make sure that the Thursday night performer is in his spot. If it's a wide receiver, it needs to be in the wide receiver spot. If he's a running back, it needs to be in the running back spot, because that allows you the flexibility to start a different flex if something happens later in the week for one of your guys. So, with that said, live from Cajun Fitness in Rayne, Louisiana, I am the Dean. This has been Fantasy Football Academy 2020. I'll see you guys next time. Good luck this week.